All right, gratitude, peace, family. This is your brother Yosef, and I'm back with another video. Family. In this video here, family, I want to talk about something I think is very important as we move forward in this world. Um, a lot of this information I'm going to talk to you guys about today is information based on books that I've read and also information that I received when I was in the astral plane. This information I've studied years ago, but I kind of want to open up to people more on extraterrestrials because I think it's a very important topic. I've been studying for years, and on New Life Tools, I never really go that deep into extraterrestrials. I talked about UFOs here and there, a few of my experiences, but I never really go into extraterrestrial groups. Right, I do that mostly on my Patreon channel. And if you want to go into join the Patreon, you can hit the link below. Um, but I mostly talk about it on my Patreon channel because I feel like people over there, they really want the information, right? So I give it to them. But in New Life Tools, some people, you got your trolls come on here and stuff like that. So I feel like sometimes everybody don't want the information. So I kind of tested it, family, with the vampire video. You know what I'm saying? And it got received very well. So I said, well, let me try it again and give you guys some extraterrestrial information to see how you guys like it. You know what I'm saying? But this is everything I'm telling you guys is 100% true. This is based on information that, like I said, I got from books and also from me traveling the astral plane, talking to different beings and meeting certain beings. So I'm gonna give you guys some really good information today, and this is very important based on where we're going because we have to understand who's on this planet and why they're doing what they're doing. And there's other parts of ourselves as well that we have to understand, right? So today we're going to talk about Sakara's family. The Sakara's, very powerful group of extraterrestrials that we're going to talk about on a whole nother level, right? Before I start, family, I want to say anybody looking to come to the lecture in South Carolina, um, building the quantum body. We're going to go over that. We're going to go do that lecture in South Carolina in April 8th. So if you want to come out, you can hit the link below, backwardsrealm.com. And it's going to be dope, family. I'm going to give away some information there I've never talked about ever. All right. So today, family, we're going to talk about the Ciakars. That's how I was told to say their name. They are a group of real entities, family, and they are very powerful. Okay. So the first thing to understand, family, is the Sakaras are uh, they are a royal reptilian race. Okay, they are the oldest version and most powerful version and most spiritual version and the highest version of the reptilian race. Okay, it's very important to understand that. And these beings come from Regal in Orion. Okay, Regal in Orion. And for those of you who don't know what Regal is a star. Okay, it's a star, right? And they literally come from inside the star. Okay. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's just like I tell people there's the fifth dimension exists inside of our sun, right? We got to understand something very important, family. That's our fifth dimension. Okay, that's our fifth dimension. There's different variations and different ways to enter the fifth dimension. Okay, through different star systems, right? And different star systems carry certain different. That's actually a big secret that a lot of people don't know. That the way you can enter a lot of different uh, dimensions spiritually is through different stars. All right, stars are gateways, right? Um, the astral plane period is the main gateway. Look at the astral planes like the World Wide Web, and through the astral plane, family, you can enter so many different dimensions, right? The word astral means star. So when you're talking about the star plane, you're talking about the astral plane, right? So this is why we call these beings extraterrestrials. And they could be super spiritual and not even have physical bodies. We call them extraterrestrials, first of all, because they exist outside of planet Earth. But on another level, we can call them aliens or extraterrestrials because they are in a whole nother dimension, doing a whole nother thing, right? It all depends on how you look at it, right? So the Sakara's family are this very powerful royal uh, race that's from the Regal star in Orion. Okay, they literally come out of the star. They live inside of the star, right? Very, very powerful group of extraterrestrials. And this group family is the highest order in the reptilian order. Now, some of you guys don't know because you never heard me talk about it. Maybe some of you guys did research on it, but there are like three main extraterrestrial reptilian races that live on planet. The more aggressive ones that kind of try to control us are the group that we know of and we talk about all the time, but there are like two other races that are actually not as aggressive towards us, and they actually have whole types of temples, and they teach spirituality and all types of things like that in the inner earth, right? One of the groups actually lives in Agartha. So, but the other group lives in caverns and stuff in the inner earth, and they actually are very spiritual, and they didn't come to earth to actually bring issues. They came to help and raise the consciousness, right? So all of these groups, whether negative or positive, they all have to answer to the Sakaras, which are a very powerful, high-level group of extraterrestrials, right? Very powerful family. Now, like I said before, family, Regal is this blue star in Orion that is a portal to the 16th dimension. Okay, so literally the beings that live there, family, are actually real angels. Okay, and I'm not saying that to confuse people. And one thing people don't know is that angels themselves. People, when we say the word angel, we kind of view angels as one way, like they look like humans. No, that's one type of angels. Angels actually look like grays. They have big eyes with the big heads, gray heads. You have angels that look like that. You have angels that look like reptilians, which are the Ciakars, right? You have angels that look like blue people, like tall blue people. You have angels that look like anything you can imagine. You have angels that are insectoids. They look like insects. Absolutely. You have angels. Now, this is what really blew me away when I actually astral projected and actually had an experience with an angelic school. I saw angels that look like trees, right? They were what you call some type of plant type uh, organisms that had wings, and they were um, angels. Now, not all angels have wings, family, but these groups I'm talking about had wings, and even the group I'm talking about now, the Sakaras, they have wings, right? So these are reptilians who are extremely advanced, extremely intelligent, and they are on a whole nother level, 16th dimension, which means they exist outside of what you call the overworld. And they don't come here like that much. They come here once in a blue moon, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but they don't come here that much, family. So um this is a very powerful race, family, that is 16th dimensional, and I want to be very clear that these type of angels are what you call seraphim. Okay, these are seraphim angels, family. All right, now I'm gonna tell you guys something, that the seraphim angels are actually angels that actually you know are look more like reptiles in nature, in the highest form, in the highest level. See, once again, we have to expand our consciousness, because at the end of the day, family, we think angels still look human. So we talk about Michael and Gabriel and all, we only think of from a human consciousness. Just like if a little ant thought of their angels, which they do exist, they will only think of ants that look like with wings and stuff like that. So we have to expand our consciousness and understand that when you're dealing with the oldest group of people on the planet, right? When you're dealing with the oldest group of people on the planet, or the oldest beings, you're talking about draconian dragon type of entities, which are the oldest beings in this universe. You know what I'm saying? The oldest beings in this universe, dragons. So these angelic forces at the highest level on one side are uh are dragon looking in nature. They are more reptilian looking. So some of them look like cobra snakes. Some of them look like lizards. Some of them look like straight up dragons. And they actually have wings, and they actually are angels. Telling y'all some very secretive, you know what I'm saying, powerful information right here. You know what I'm saying? So this is what this group is. These are why these groups are in the 16th dimension, right? These are, so when you talk about the Archangel Michael, he doesn't look human. He's not human in his real form. He's not. He looks more like a dragon. He looks more like a snake, if you want to say, which goes into the science of why. Well, that's a whole nother thing. I'm not gonna get into that. I'm jumping ahead of myself, right? I get on, I jump ahead of myself. So I'm gonna hit y'all with one thing at a time. So that is the seraphim angels, family. The seraphim angels tend to look more reptilian in nature at the highest levels, and that seraphim group had some effect on us, and I'm gonna get into that in a second, right? Now, being that these beings are real angels, we have to understand the story of the Anunnaki when we talk about this, because the Anunnaki are angels as well. They are humans who evolved themselves into angels, right? From another dimension. So they're not from our dimension. They are humans from another dimension who evolved themselves up to an angelic level using technology, right? Which they should have never did. Using technology, they couldn't take the technology to the next level. So that's why we were created. And I told that story 100 million times. So when we evolved, when they evolved, family, they start meeting other different types of orders of different beings and stuff like that. And because of their nature and their body type, they were able to interact with beings from the overworld, okay, on different levels. Now, I'm saying this because I'm gonna give you guys another secret. Inky, all right, the god, the deity Inky, the demigod Inky, his mother is actually an angel, right? So his mother is from the Draconian bloodline, right? We all know that, right? His mother's Draconian, but she's not just a regular Draconian. She's actually a Sakara, and that's what people don't know, right? A lot of people don't know that Inky's mother was actually a Sakara, so she knew the science of how to put souls into bodies. That's how we got here, right? So Inky knew how to create human bodies, but his mother, being a Sakara, angelic being from the 16th dimension, she knew a science that just wasn't down here. And because that was his mama gave him the science. She taught him the wisdom of how to put a soul into the body. And Inky wasn't supposed to use that science when he came down here, right? He wasn't supposed to use the science of putting souls into bodies, because his father, I knew, kind of didn't want that down here, right? But he did it anyway. He got in trouble for that as well, right? He got in big trouble for putting souls in bodies, right? He got in trouble for creating human beings, period, right? But at the same time, he loved what he created, right? He was, and for those who don't know as well, when you're dealing with the Anunnaki, they're like angelic scientists. They're really scientists. They're the greatest scientists in the whole universe. Like, these beings can pretty much create anything, right? But long story short, the Anunnakis themselves, the main tribe that they merged with, that they found out because you always come from on high, then you come down, and then you go back up. So they merged more with the tribe that was more from a bird tribe, Ibris. So you're dealing with Thoth. So really, when you're dealing with the Anunnaki, you're dealing with the children of Thoth, right? That's his children, because then that's why they're scientists as well. They come from a bird tribe. They're more of a bird tribe, and this is where it's where you get the whole in their bird tribe. I'm not gonna go too deep into all this stuff, and I'm getting off track. But the bird tribe is more 14th dimensional, cherubim angels. We know Lucifer was a cherubim. He's the most powerful cherubim that ever lived. But now Gabriel has that position, right? But the Anunnaki, they literally come from that bloodline. They come from the bloodline of the cherubim, and so their thing is more like birds, right? So with that being said, their bloodline, they have this cherubim bloodline, and when Inky came, they mixed in with the seraphim. So Inky is the perfect balance between the cherubim and the seraphim, and he controls both sides. And of course, his brother in Lil didn't really like that, but that's kind of what it is. So he controlled it because there was wars going on in heaven. There was a war in heaven, and they were fighting a lot. So in order to squash that war, they married each other. Anu married a female, which was um, a being from Regal, right? Who, when she was with him, she covered herself because she was more powerful than him. That's just a fact, right? She was more powerful than him, so she had to kind of lower herself to bring herself down. They wanted somebody who could speak from the highest order of the reptilians to actually squash this war. Anu spoke for his side, right? And she spoke for the other side. So when they got together, they had Inky, and Inky was taught this secret science by his mother of putting souls into bodies. Nobody else in the universe knew that science of bringing a soul down. I didn't say he created souls. Let's be clear on that. I didn't say he created souls. I said he's put the souls into the body. He knew how to, the science of fusing souls into bodies. He knew how to do that. So, which they found out later was a big mistake. And that's a whole nother story. But when you're dealing with the beings from the 16th dimension, the Ciakars, they are 16th dimensional. And they look more like reptiles in their nature. So Inky is half reptile, half draconian. But he has a very powerful nature to himself because he has a very powerful mother that comes from all the way from the 16th dimension. right? So that's one of the ways they knew that they wasn't going to make it, because when he married in, she was like, "Oh, y'all messed up. Y'all can't get past with all this technology stuff. Y'all need to leave the technology behind, and you need to evolve naturally, right?" And that's the mistake that Anunnaki made, in so many words, right? So um, when you're dealing with the Sakaras, they kind of feel like this solar system belongs to them because there's the stars here. The star into their dimension is here, and they know that they're the top dog. Let me say this too: when you go back to the Egyptians were also that's where you get the whole Netaru. The Netaru angels are the cherubims, right? They're the cherubims, and that's actually their higher self. So when you're dealing with the Egyptians, they're dealing with their bloodline of the cherubims. That was their higher self. So that's where the whole Netaru bird tribe come from. That's a whole nother story. So the Sakaras feel like this universe is theirs, and they do have a secret underground base that has to be underground because they don't like being here. It's like putting on it's like walking through a sewer. As beautiful as our world seems to us, having human flesh and being under the guise of a dome and stuff like that, it's like being in a sewer to them, right? Because they're highly evolved beings, so they don't like putting on human flesh. They don't like being in a low level like this. So when they come here, they have to go. There's caverns in the inner earth that was created. Where they come here, they sit on these thrones, and they and the reptilians, they all have to bring gifts, and it's crazy stuff that happens. And this cavern is in under Madagascar. So under Madagascar, which is one of the reasons why I broke away, this place is for them. Madagascar is literally an area where the Sakaras have underground their secret locations. You know what I'm saying? So and these beings are immortals. These are futuristic versions of uh, a lot of entities, including us, right? Including us, because we have reptilian blood too, because we're the children of Inky, right? We have reptilian blood as well. So that's what that is, family. Now the powerful thing about these Sakaras is that they're actually from a whole nother race of draconians because they so far in the future. We talking about like a million years into the future, million, 1 million, 2 million years in the future. These beings, and because of that, they don't even look at themselves as draconian anymore. But they know that the draconians are from their line. So the reason why this is powerful, because imagine human beings making a connection with themselves on a higher level and recognizing that. That's what kind of what that is. So in our version would be probably like the Anunnaki. Will be a futuristic, which they are, more higher version. But when you're dealing with the Anunnaki, you're probably talking about maybe 50,000, 65,000 years in the future. You know what I'm saying? And that's a whole nother thing, right? And the Anunnaki can live for thousands of years because they know how to extend their life force, right? But they haven't learned how to be exactly immortal yet. But these beings look at themselves as a whole nother race than the Draconians because they're so far ahead in the future. But they recognize these people as their people, if that makes sense, right? They recognize, oh, you from us, or we're actually from you, so we'll give you that respect, but we're going to run this whole thing. That's kind of what that is, family. All right. And to keep it real, the Sakaras are respected by all alien races. And don't get it twisted, family. It's a lot of beings that are respected by all alien races, right? But the Sakaras are a group that are kind of like, they're not good and they're not evil. They kind of do whatever benefits them. That's kind of how it works, right? So the Anunnakis had to reach, or excuse me, the reptilians had to reach on high to really help win the war because they was actually about to get beat by the Anunnaki, these reptilians. So they found a way to reach on high and get the attention of Anu by bringing down this being, the Sakara being, and having him, hey, we got a being from our highest order that's going to marry you. And they had Inky, you know what I'm saying? Long story short. So this is very important to learn, family, because we live in a world today where all we know is reptilians and, Anunnaki, and there's more to the story, right? If you do the research, and if you can, if all of us evolve to the point we can actually go on the astral plane and ask these questions and come back with certain information, these beings are there, family, and these information is there, right? And I'm not saying that, Brother Yosef, you can choose to believe or not. You already know my philosophy. It don't make a difference to me. I'm just sharing what I think needs to be shared because we need to understand that these so-called reptilians that run the earth are not all powerful. right? And they have a hierarchy of beings they have to answer to as well, right? And I really want you guys to understand that when you're dealing with angels, angels don't look like what you think they look like. You know what I'm saying? They don't look like what you think. There's more to angels than you think. There's angels that look like the Buddha picture behind me. There's angels that look like everything, which means that everything with a spirit that can cry out to God has a messenger for it, if that makes sense. So if you step on an ant and the ant's crying out to its a God before you kill it, it has a consciousness. I'm pretty sure there's an angelic ant insectoid being that actually hears the cries of that ant. It's just the truth, family, and that's something you learn when you get out here and expand your consciousness. That there's more to the story, right? More to the story. So the things that we deem small here and we don't pay attention to, like ants, have whole races. You know what I'm saying? That are far more advanced and far more intelligent than us on a whole nother level, right? So the reason why the Sakaras are important because I believe that they're going to play a role in how we evolve in the future. I do. I believe that. And I think that a lot of beings are, but Sakara is going to be very important. I think I'll do a part two and know why in the future and why the Sakaras are important on a deeper level. But at the end of the day, family, I wanted you guys to understand that there is a world race of reptilians now that do exist. And that one group of people that they put the Sakaras on is they'll say, well, the Queen of England was a reptilian. She was one of these Sakaras, and she wasn't. She'll never be a Sakara because these beings don't like to put on human flesh. They don't like to put it on, right? These beings don't eat meat. The Sakaras don't even, they don't, these are angelic beings that exist in a whole nother dimension, in a dimension that you can't even perceive yet. A 16th dimension. You know what I'm saying? A 16th dimension. So just imagine that for a second. You know what I'm saying? When we dream at night, we're seeing from 4 dimensions. Imagine being in the 16th dimension. You need a body. You can't do that with this body. You need a certain type of body to do that, family. All right. So that's why these Sakaras are important. And I wanted to get on here and share that with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Once again, if you guys want to come to the lecture, the information will be below. If you guys want to hit up my Patreon, the information will be below. All right. I appreciate you guys, and I will talk to you guys in the next video, family. Peace.